I was the producer of the project, so it was my original idea. So I had the original idea and I put the team together. My aim was to connect young people now with perhaps some historical themes through the kind of heritage of the area, the literary heritage in particular. I worked with about 65 young people along the way, interviewing them, getting their ideas about what interests them about being young now. It was then the writer, Aisha, we commissioned her to work on the piece, and she she looked at some Bronte text, she came up with some ideas. It was really about creativity and what are the barriers to create creativity, and has anything changed in the last 150 years. And so her initial text was a mix of some Bronte lines, some of her own lines, some of the lines from the young people we interviewed. And then when we brought the cast together, they did some of their own writing. So it was really a sort of organic process. I mean, what we really wanted it to be really contemporary, so a contemporary kind of rethink about some of the Bronte themes, about friendship or about success, really.
Well, what we wanted to do is we wanted to look at the Brontes, and we wanted to pull out themes that we thought were still contemporary today, and then we wanted to explore the themes with a young cast. So one of the things that we wanted to look at was the similarities of being young today, look at themes like fear and expectation.
A process that went on behind the actual production week beforehand as well. So we met with a number of youth groups across North Kirklees, and we ran the same workshop in those youth groups that was exploring a lot of the themes around expectation, identity, success, and those ideas actually fed into the script, the finished script, and some of those groups came back to see the production. So those will be groups that we will no doubt go back to in terms of involving them in future projects and seeing what they might want to do now they've seen something actually happen, come to fruition. So it's a good process, I think, behind.
Yeah, and I think it all happened very quickly. It was making a piece of theatre in 5 days. So I think it's really impressive what the girls came up with in such a short amount of time. What was really remarkable on the day was actually some of people's reactions to seeing this piece of theatre, which is completely different than some people's initial thoughts on what theatre is, which is on a stage in a theatre. Because the piece, you could kind of choose your own adventure, really. You could kind of see which path you want to take and whose story you want to hear. It meant that people kind of had free rein of the space.
I thought it was perfect for what they were trying to show, because you actually, as the audience, you weren't sitting in a conventional way in rows, in chairs. You were actually moving through the scene with the actors, and you experienced the life, the daily life that the Brontes would have had themselves.
So much so that I wanted it to continue. It wasn't enough. It was very short, and I thought this is really good, and it was nice to be able to interact with the actors, and you felt part of it.
Right.
Because when I first read it in the paper, I thought it was going to be linked to the Charlotte Bronte thing, sort of period thing,
yes.
And I didn't read much of the small details, so when I came in and saw that, it was really quite nice. And what was nice to see our young Asian community, particularly females, which you don't see much of,
no, you don't.
Being able to talk about a lot of things which are considered kind of taboo for us to not discuss, and things like that, and sort of young people talking about these things themselves, and I thought that was a really, really good thing, and I think there should be more of that.
really, really impressed. Didn't really know how they were going to achieve it. You know, talk about girls being in the different rooms and moving from room to room, and didn't know what I was going to hear, how they were going to get that across to the viewing public.
Well.
It actually did.
Yes.
I was really, really impressed.
It was great. Actually, all the girls performed extremely well, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, but it was quite good.
And was it different from other shows you've been to?
I haven't been to anything like this
haven't you?
before, so it was
Right.
quite good experience.
I've heard by how much can be achieved in such a short space of time, and how inspiring the girls can be. The words that they said and the show, it really made you think and inspired me.
And this setting?
I think it was wonderful because it's, I mean, I'm from Yorkshire, so I'm fairly familiar with the Brontes and big old houses. And I think when you see something like that happening, and you see very young women in a very old period setting, it reinforces that juxtaposition.
And I think when you try to get more of an understanding of it,
Yes.
and I feel like I can sort of understand them more and their situations more.
I heard about it because I'm actually a counsellor here in Kirklees. I've been a counsellor for 8 years, and now culture and heritage is part of my portfolio, so I got an invite.
What did you actually think of the show?
I thought it was brilliant. It was a different take on one of the Bronte stories, one of the Bronte books, Shirley. But it had a contemporary feel to the story, so the young women who were acting out the play were actually relating it to contemporary times.
I'm very pleased that these 5 Asian girls took part in this production, and I hope that it'll lead for them taking a career maybe into the arts and not just going the normal line like doctors and the other professions, but maybe go on the art side, which is really inspiring to see the young people of today taking a diversity in this opportunity to perform. And credit to the girls, I'm really proud of them. Well done.
This project was really helpful for me because I learned so much about acting and how to play different characters and how you should be in different environments. So it was a real life lesson for me. Currently, speaking of television acting, I'm entering a young filmmakers competition. So I'm currently filming and editing that right now. I was one of the cast members who actually took part in doing the theatre performing. So in reality we were just being ourselves, but we were taking a step into the Bronte sisters' life. So yeah, so we just in a more exaggerated version of ourselves, but with a more expressive side, yeah, that we don't really normally have. Confidence, that's definitely one thing I've got. Confidence and kind of understanding of who you are, because throughout this play we had to be who we are, but also find out who we are, because it's all about being independent and being successful in a way that makes us happy.
So you found that helped you very much?
Yeah, definitely.
And what are you going to do next as a result of the project?
Hopefully do more things in theatre, so whether it's backstage behind the scenes or actually standing on stage and doing something else. So yeah, things like that.
It sounds quite cheesy, but it really was sort of a journey of self-discovery, because I always used to go to shows and watch actors my age, and always wished that I could be up there, but it never felt like it would really happen. But then I suddenly realised during one of the performances that I'm doing this thing that I've always dreamed of, and that if I really want to and if I try, I can go out there and I can do the things I want to.
That's very admirable. That's great, and it's given you the confidence that you needed.
Yeah, definitely.
And what are you going to do next as a result of this project?
Well, hopefully more drama things.
Right.
Generally, I'm going to try auditioning for some bigger shows, and I really would like to carry on and do some more things with Creative Scene or Child Theatre if possible, because they were really good to work with.
Great. I was just smiling the whole day after the performance. I kept remembering things and just sort of laughing to myself. Like, couldn't stop smiling after it. Well, I've definitely got more interested in like drama and like performing and community performances, because I was already interested in performing and working with theatre companies, but now I just want to do it even more, like especially like career-wise.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, so we've just come from a reflection session with the young people that have been involved in the process, and they've had the time now, a week after the performance, to reflect back on what they've learned. So that's been really interesting to hear, because you make all sorts of assumptions about how confident young people are at the start of a process, and actually they really have, to coin a phrase, travelled a long way in the process of a week, really, the production week. But also be interesting to revisit some of those groups that we worked with in the first place, to see what they might want to do now they've seen the project come to fruition, and talk to them about what art experiences they might want to take part in next.